Hi folks, and welcome to A&P with Dr. O. In today's video, we are going to look at the histology of osseous tissue, also known as bone tissue. When we're looking at compact bone underneath the microscope, what we're going to be looking for is we're going to be looking for structures known as osteons, because those are going to be the functional units of compact bone. This image shows bone or osseous tissue underneath the microscope, and we can pick out the osteons because they're very distinctive. They look like a target with a bullseye in the middle. That's one analogy. Or they look like if you cut down a tree and we're looking at the tree stump and you observed the growth rings on the tree stump. Those are the two visual analogies that can help us recognize bone tissue. So we've got two osteons that are clearly visible here. I'll circle this one for us. And then there's one over here as well. So again, we're looking at something that looks like the rings, the growth rings of a tree, or what looks like a target with a bullseye in the middle. This entire structure, and that's why I like to circle the whole thing, is known as the osteon. Again, that functional unit of compact bone. Then we are going to see that there are rings of bone matrix, and then in the center we have a canal, and that's going to serve as our bullseye if we use the target analogy. Same thing over here. We have rings of bone matrix, and then we've got this bullseye in the middle that's going to be the central canal. If I just make a bracket here for one of these rings, this ring of compact bone in the osteon is known as lamella, or lamellae for plural, so multiple rings would be the lamellae. Again, these are going to be the rings that we see in the osteon, and that's the bone matrix that creates these rings, that matrix of calcium salts. Then we have this bullseye in the middle. This provides a route for blood vessels and nerves and is known as the central canal. Sometimes it's also called the Haversian canal. And in addition to the matrix, we're also going to have bone cells. There's a variety of different cells within the bone matrix that we'll talk about more in lecture. What we're focused on here are the mature bone cells, which are these darker cells that we can see. We've got a few of them here as well. All of these darkened areas, what they are going to be are the mature bone cells, which are known as osteocytes. And these mature cells sit in these little lake-like structures known as lacunae. Lacunae means lake. Now, because these mature cells are sitting in these lake-like structures, they need to be able to communicate with one another. And that's where these wavy lines come in that we see through the bone matrix. And I'm just kind of drawing over some of them so you can see them a little bit better. You can really see them really well over here. I'll draw on a few here as well. And then I'll kind of circle a whole bunch. Again, if you just draw out a couple and then you can see the rest here, These wavy lines are known as canaliculi. And again, they are going to allow those osteocytes in lacunae, to communicate with one another. There you have it, the histology of osseous tissue.